Mm. Yes, what's happening?
Today is your episode on Valenzuela Live.
No, you might have gotten it wrong. I am assigned for next week's episode.
No, it is your episode today.
No, today is lesson 3 and Mom Elaine is our live streaming teacher.
What? Me? No, it's your week today, Teacher MK. I'm already done. See ya! Bye!
What? Really? Oh, let me just put this down real quick. Cut direct, take 2. And here we go. Good day, grade 9 virtual learners, and welcome to a surprise edition of English WAP, or that is right, English Work and Progress. Bring your modules and your pens for this work and progress. And we are back by a not so popular demand. And I know that you did not ask, but I will still tell you anyway that this episode is still knowledge packed and information loaded as we journey ourselves to the path of English fluency. And you might be wondering, why are you seeing me again? Well, I also am. But hey, we are already halfway this quarter, so bear with me as we go through this lesson. And with that, without further ado, same old, let's get this episode rocking by first checking the attendance. So for the attendance, key in your name, your grade and section, of course, the name of your school, and proudly flaunt the name of your teachers in English. And as well, just like the last time, go on and include the hashtag EnglishWAP. Now, for this journey, we need our map to attain English fluency, which will guide us what competencies we need to acquire in each lesson. Therefore, the most essential learning competency for this session is reflect on the idea of the speaker and unpacking that to our learning objectives. By the end of our discussion, everybody is expected to 1. Identify important details on speech. 2. Note significant features on factual information and subjective content. And lastly, distinguish factual information from subjective content. With your attentive listening and active participation, we will sure attain the goals that we set. But how can we really do this if I haven't prepared something? You see, I am not really prepared right now. I am not as much ready as the last time. But since we are such warriors, we are always ready to fight in any battlefields. And of course, wait. Is that a notification? Oh, we have a notification. Okay, let me just read it. You have a throwback post for today. Well, it's really nice to see throwback posts because you get to know what has improved and developed. Let us first look into this post. Maybe we can get something from this. Hey, let me just open my Instagram account. Let me type my username, my password, and log in. Welcome to my Instagram feed. And I know this is not much of the trending aesthetic feed, but hey, it looks fine and you cannot tell that I do not look good with these pictures. Please, these are fine. I look beautiful, and no, that is not boasting or bragging or being overly confident. This should be the energy we possess. The world is already cruel and struggling, and it's not too much to be a little kinder to yourself. So face that mirror and compliment that beauty. Anyway, let's check my throwback post. Oh, this photo was taken when I delivered a talk about presenting a speech. This was very memorable because we had so much fun with the knowledge shared by everybody, and obviously you can see it in my face. Those were the days. Wait a minute. What if Brain Blast? What if we discuss speech and all its features? Especially as grade 9 learners, you are all expected to be good at this. Now, that's an idea. And with that, welcome to English 9, Quarter 4, Lesson 4, Speech, Factual Information versus Subjective Content. Okay, let us first learn the basics. Let us first define speech in this activity I call word box. Well, word box is a word puzzle which contains a set of boxes. In each box, it corresponds to a letter. Now, the height of the box sets as a clue to how the letter looks like. If it's tall, or if it's small, or the letter has a tail. A picture for each word is also provided as a clue for you to unlock the word. The words that we will get are all connected to the definition of speech. And so let us start for our word box number 1. This is the picture. As you can see, there are a lot of people and a stage. Now our boxes are here. 8 boxes, therefore 8 letters. One tall letter and the other are small letters. Now these are some letters for clues. So we have letters A, D, I, and N. What could be this word? I will give you 5 seconds to key in your answers in the comment sections below. Go. Okay, correct answer is nice. Audience. Speech is an informative speaking endeavor, usually delivered before an audience. Therefore, it is a form of public speaking. Now, let us have our word box number 2. Here is the picture. As you can see, the kid is arranging the toys neatly. Now, here are the letter boxes. We have 9 letters. O, G, N, Z, and D are provided. What do we call when someone arranges their stuff? They are being. 5 seconds to comment down your answers. Correct answer is very well. They are being organized. Since speech is presented before an audience, the ideas included should be organized. But how do we organize a speech? A speech usually has 3 main components that everyone must remember in presenting. First is the topic. A speech should have a relevant topic that addresses a particular issue. And from this issue, the speaker presents their stand or side by carefully justifying and proving it with credible and valid textual evidences. So what makes a speech? A relevant topic, justified stand or side through credible and valid evidences. Now, speaking of organized, a speech usually follows a particular format. And the first part is our word box number 3. This picture depicts a boy and a girl telling their names. Now, our letter boxes, 12 letters, and some letters are already provided. When someone tells something about them, that is 5 seconds to answer. Okay, correct answer is, that is right, introduction. If the speech is a full course meal, the introduction is the appetizer. So the speaker needs to make this part interesting to catch the attention of the listeners. In this part, the topic is introduced and the stand of the speaker is also mentioned. But how can we make this introduction appetizing and interesting? To create an appetizing introduction, there are some strategies we can use. One is using a quotation. For example, you deliver a speech on the mystery of love. You may use the famous line, "Love is like a rosary that is full of mystery." You may also include lyrics from a song. For example, speech about beauty. You may use the lyrics by Alicia Cara that says, "No scars to your beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful." You may also include a line from literature or a literary piece. Say, for example, a speech about moving on from your past relationship. And you decided to include Pablo Neruda's line from the poem, "Tonight I Can Write the Saddest Lines," that says, "Love is so short, forgetting is so long." Really painful. And lastly, you may use a question just like how Hamlet did in his famous speech in the book with the same title, when he asked, "To be or not to be?" That is the question. So these are some of the strategies you may use in making your introduction appetizing. Now, next part of the speech is our word box number 4. The picture shows a boy and some of his parts. Now, our letter boxes. Since we only have 4 letters, no more clues. If we have already had introduction, we also have the 5 seconds to comment your answers. Correct answer is, okay, very well, the body. Now, the body serves as the main course. It holds all the information, justification, clarification about your topic and stand. It is the home of all the textual evidences. Since it is the main course, it should be all meaty and nutritious. And so the listeners should learn a lot when you are delivering the body part of your speech. Our next word box is the last part of a speech. The picture depicts a teacher summarizing a point. Now the letter boxes are here. 10 boxes and so 10 letters with provided letters C, N, L, U, and another N. If we have introduction and the body, the last part is 5 seconds to comment your answers. Correct answer is, very well, conclusion. It is the last part in which the speaker summarizes all the points presented in their speech. This is, of course, the dessert part, short and sweet. So, introduction, body, and conclusion. Now, for our last word box, this picture shows a light bulb, which usually represents the idea. This last word is the most important because without this, you cannot have speech. Now for our letter boxes, 7 letter boxes and letters are C, N, T, and the final T is provided. 5 seconds to comment your answer. What could this be? Very well, the answer is content. Content carries all the ideas, information, data, and evidences presented in the speech. Now, to make a good speech, it should contain a well-balanced combination of factual information and subjective content. Now, these two make up the textual evidences which justify your stand or your side, which is all about your topic. But how do we discuss each? Let me present to you these kinds of information. Let us have factual information versus subjective content. So, for factual information, these are facts rooted on general truths. And so, these are short, and there is no need to explain these because they simply carry truthfulness. But how can one indicate factual information? One indicator is figures and numerical data. Therefore, if the information is a result of a statistical treatment, it is usually a factual information. Another indicator would be if an information is a result of a research. These have undergone thorough analysis and observations, thus carry truthfulness in them. And lastly, you can also indicate if an information is factual if these belong to already established facts or general truth. These are already proven by the discipline they belong. Say, for example, the sun is the center of the solar system. Everyone knows it and it is already proven by science. On the other hand, for subjective content, these involve the speaker's own judgment, feelings, intuitions, and emotions. Therefore, the nature of subjective content is opinionated. These share the perspective of the speaker from the factual information. These highlight their stand from a particular issue rooted on facts. Now, to indicate a subjective content, you may identify if it's under a personal view or comment of the speaker. Say, so they may share how they feel on a particular issue. Another would be if it carries the speaker's individual preferences, what they think is good, better, or the best. And lastly, if it has adjectives based on a perspective, if the speaker describes something based on their preferences. To give you a clear picture of the distinction between factual information and subjective content, let us have sample information for these two. The sample information that I will share belong from the same topic. Now, look closely how these differ if they are under factual information and subjective content. Let us have this first example. So for factual information, we have 5 million children were named James in 2016. This is a statistical information. There is figure shared that in 2016, millions of children were named James. Now for the subjective content, I don't like the name James. It rings a heartbreaking memory. What makes this subjective is because it is an individual preference of the speaker. The speaker just does not like the name James because of the memory it carries. Now let us have another example. But this time, let us start with subjective content. Here it says, Noli Me Tangere was one of the most well-written novels in the Philippines. Again, what makes this subjective is that the speaker's opinion is highlighted when it says Noli Me Tangere is one of the most well-written among all the other novels written in the Philippines. Now, for factual information, Noli Me Tangere was written by Jose Rizal. I mean, no need to ask. It is an established fact that Jose Rizal authored this novel. And our last example, in celebration of the Pride Month, let us have this factual information. The first Pride March in the Philippines happened on June 26, 1994. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, some groups in the Philippines organized the first Pride March to commemorate the said event. Now for the subjective content, Pride March is first and foremost a protest because it celebrates the resistance of the queer community in the Stonewall riots on June 1969. This is subjective because it shares the perspective of the speaker on the importance of Pride Month. It is actually symbolic because the roots of the celebration is not that colorful. We celebrate Pride Month to remember how our gay heroes and sheroes stood up for us to live the comfortable life in the present. Although the current celebrations are all colorful and festive, discrimination against the community never stops. So we have to continue to fight for our human rights and always be reminded that Pride Month is first and foremost a protest. Happy Rainbow Month to everybody, to Pride and beyond. To test if you really understood the difference between factual information and subjective content, let us have an activity. So for this activity, it will be a battle between the emojis, like versus heart emojis. There will be statements given in each item. You just have to comment down a like emoji if the statement is factual information, and comment a heart emoji if the statement is a subjective content. Let us start with our first statement. It says, University of the Philippines is the best university in the country. By using the word best to describe UP, is it factual information or subjective content? I'll give you 5 seconds to comment down your answer. Okay, the correct answer is correct. It is subjective content because Though UP is really a premier university, it is just a perspective that it is the best among all other universities in the Philippines. Now, our next statement is, I believe that the Valenzuela Live helps the students learn amidst distance learning. Is it factual information or subjective content? Comment down your emoji answers. I will give you 5 seconds to do that. Correct answer is, okay, right. It is also subjective because it is a belief of the speaker, maybe because of a particular experience. Therefore, this statement is an opinion. Okay, let us have our third statement. It says, the Philippines waited for 42 years to bring back the Miss Universe crown home, from Miss Margie Moran in 1973 to Pia Alonso words back in 2015. 5 seconds to answer. Okay, the right answer is yes, it is factual information. No need to explain, just do the math. And it was very historical because of the Steve Harvey moment. Anyway, on to our next statement. It says, McDonald's has more delicious meals than what Jollibee offers. Is it light or hard? 5 seconds to key in your answers. And the correct answer is, very well, hard for subjective content. I know we have our own preferences with regards to these fast food chains. But remember, the answer is hard, meaning, love ko to. Just kidding. Anyway, another statement. For our ML enthusiasts out there, our next statement is, Blacklist International is hailed as the champion in the recently concluded season of Mobile Legends Professional League Tournament in the Philippines. Is it factual or subjective? 5 seconds to comment down your answers. Okay, the answer is right. It is factual information. No need for explanation, just hashtag VUIs. On to another statement. We have, Ho-Oh was the first legendary Pokemon that Ash saw in the animated series Pokemon Pocket Monsters. 5 seconds to catch them all. 5 seconds to type in your answers. Okay, the right answer is Pika Pika. It is factual information. If you followed the series, after Ash got Pikachu as his starter Pokemon in Kanto region, they encountered a disaster. And when they survived, they saw Ho-Oh. Let us have another statement. It says, Lee Jong-suk is the most fitting character as Jae-chan in the Korean drama While You Were Sleeping. I'll give you 5 seconds to answer with your emojis. Go! And the correct answer is nice. There are a lot of good Korean actors. I can name many. And though Lee Jong-suk is like ethereal good, it is subjective to say he is the most fitting for the given role. Let us have our 8th statement. In here we have Parasite, a South Korean film directed by Bong Joon-ho in 2019, is the first Best Picture winner of the Oscars that is not in the English language. Is it factual information or subjective content? I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. Correct answer is, okay, it is factual and historical because the US did not dub this masterpiece. It's definitely a must-watch. Next statement we have, Iya Mina, who played Mamu in the film Mamu and the Mother 2, is the first transgender woman to win Best Actress in the Philippine cinema. Is it factual or subjective? 5 seconds to answer. Well, the answer is nice. It is factual. Cinema One awarded the coveted honor to address Iya on her genuine identity. Last statement for our activity in the recently concluded masterpiece, the statement is, Attack on Titan, written and illustrated by Hajime Isayama, is the best anime or manga series created. Is it a mere fact or a subjective content? 5 seconds to key in your answers. Okay, and the right answer is okay, correct. Although people want to crown this as the best, the statement is still subjective because there are a lot of series, and naming AOT as the best is just a preference or a point of view. So that concludes our discussion for today. Before we end our session, let me just reiterate some of the important points in this lesson. In this episode's English WAP wrap-up. First, speech is a form of public speaking, therefore presented before an audience. Another is, it is arranged in an organized manner, consisting of a topic, a stand, and textual evidences. And also, speech usually in the format of introduction, body, and conclusion. Moreover, a good speech is written with a well-balanced formula of factual information and subjective content. We have discussed that factual information are solely facts which can be indicated as statistical figures and general truths. And lastly, subjective content is more opinionated, which shares a particular point of view from the speaker. Now, I will give you 30 seconds to key in some questions or clarifications regarding this lesson. Your 30 seconds starts now. While you type your questions, let me mention your module tasks for this lesson. But first, let me extend the gratitude to the teacher who crafted this lesson's module. Shout out Ma'am Sheila May S. Lorca, teacher from Mapulang Lupa National High School. And for your tasks, you have What's More, Task 1, Organizing Thoughts, in which you need to listen to former US President Barack Obama's speech and answer the questions that follow. You also have What's More, Task 2, Validate Information, in which you need to identify if the statement given are factual or subjective. Another is What I Have Learned, Generalization, in which you need to discuss things you learned in this lesson. Also, you need to accomplish What I Can Do, Standing Up for Good, wherein you will analyze and study a picture and answer the questions that follow. You also have assessment, Make a Journal, in which you need to state your stand on the issue of whether lugaw is essential or non-essential. And lastly, you are provided with an additional activity. There have been enough questions in our comment section. Now let us clarify some. First is a learner of Valenzuela National High School. They ask, should we add more factual information or subjective content in our speech? Okay, as I have mentioned, a good speech is a combination of a well-balanced inclusion of factual information and subjective content. These make up our textual evidences. Because for every fact, illustrations, preferences, and experiences may be used to justify the truth which comes from the subjective content. So both information carry the same importance in a speech. I wish that clarified your mind. Now let us have another example question. So a question from a learner of Genti De Leon National High School. They ask, may we use TikTok as a source of information? Okay, that's a good question. A good source of information carries two important features, credibility and validity. In TikTok, it is a home for different content creators, right? We have dancers, singers, comedy people, and we also have their educators for educational contents. If a content creator shares knowledge and information related and connected to their specialization or field of work, it already carries credibility because they have credentials to discuss the information. And if you fact check the information they share and happen that they are truthful, That's for validity. So yes, TikTok can be an avenue of information as long as you, as the viewer, know how to check the credibility and validity of the content creators you are following. I hope I clarified the questions you have in mind, and so that concludes our discussion for today. I want to share how grateful I am to the people behind this worthwhile experience, to my tech app teacher and support, to my co-LSTs, and of course to all the learners who share this experience with me. I hope you had fun as much as I did having these lessons. This is not a goodbye, but rather a see you again as we improve ourselves in the English language and literature. So congratulations everybody! This has been Teacher MK from Lawang Bata National High School, officially signing off of Valenzuela Live for English. And always at your service, English WAP or English Work and Progress. Bring your modules and your pens for this work and progress.